great day to be almost retired. So we've taken our maiden voyage with our new trailer, and there are a few things that I learned that I wanted to share with you. They may be things you already know, maybe common knowledge, but they were things that I did not know. Even going through the manual, I didn't have any idea. So I wanted to go through a couple things and hopefully they help you out. So first of all, our last camping trip, it was a lot of fun. Trailer did really well. There wasn't any issues that we really had to deal with, just some learning curves that we didn't have with our pop-up trailer before. So the first thing was, right before we left, I was sanitizing, and for the life of me, I could not get the trailer to pick up any water. The pump just would run nonstop and wasn't coming out of any of the pipes. So ultimately I found out that the pump needed to be primed, and in addition to that, when I was dewinterizing, there's a valve in with the pump that I didn't know existed, even though it shows on a sticker that I'll show you here, and also in the manual, but I had no idea that those valves were in any way related to being able to pump water. I don't know why, just not something that I knew. So again, if this helps you, I'm glad. I felt like an idiot. This is a sticker that's inside our cargo compartment in the front where the pump is behind and where our water intake is. It shows the winterized position and the open position. So this is our pump area, and there's a, I don't know what to call it, but I'll call it a primer right here that wasn't getting any water. And so what I ended up having to do was flip this around, seal it so that it wasn't leaking, because this plastic cup was on the bottom. So any water was just going into this cup and wasn't being sucked up into the primer area. So flipped this over, took off the lid, poured a little bit of water in here, and as soon as I did, it started sucking up the water. So we were good to go there. The other thing, so this valve opens and closes the fresh water or the winterization, and I believe that they just removed this cap and pumped the antifreeze in through this tube. So I didn't realize that this valve existed, and once I swapped that over, it worked fine. So the good thing about all this, because I didn't know that any of this existed, when I opened up the panel to prime the pump, I noticed that the wiring going to the pump was actually split. The installers clearly split the wire to go to two sides, and then to what, I don't know what they are, but some sort of wire nut splice thing that they have. And where they split the wire, there was about an inch long area that had exposed copper. So I was a little bit disappointed when I found that, but I cut it, trimmed it. It wasn't a big deal to fix, but quality control, that kind of bothered me. First thing that I wanted to show you was the pump and the winterization valve. The second thing, and again, it may just be specific to this trailer, but we have a port that opens up, goes out to below, that you can run a hose up through to connect to the freshwater intake. And the hose that I had would come up and either kink, or if I looped it, it was putting pressure on the intake. So I just bought a simple 90 hose connector and bought actually I already had one of these. This is just a simple on-off inline connector. And so now the hose can come straight up through this hole, right into the bottom of this, without putting any pressure on this. And I can also turn it on and shut it off right here instead of having to go over to the faucet. So something else that we found when we were going to empty the tanks is our trailer has a female connector on the side of on the sidewall. When I tried to go hook up the water at the pump station, that was also a female. I don't know, again, if that's typical for all parks or if this is all typical, if this is typical of all trailers. But what I ended up having to do is go buy a male-to-male connector. That'll solve the problem if there's a female connector at the pump station, or if it's a male, then obviously it'll just go right into the sidewall. When we went to Deception Pass, they had a 50 amp service, so we went ahead and used this surge protector. The 30 amp they also had, and I tried it out. Both of these turned on, worked fine. The display was pretty cool. It showed how many amps you're using. I'm going to share a pretty embarrassing, but I think pretty funny thing that happened when we were at Deception Pass. The first night we connected to a 50 amp service. Everything worked fine, no problem. So the second day that we're there, we moved from the one site over to our favorite site, and I laid out the power cable, hooked up the surge protector to the 50 amp service. Nothing. Couldn't figure out what was going on. I wasn't getting any power. The surge protector turned on. It was showing 0 amps being pulled, but the trailer was running on battery. I couldn't figure it out. I went back and forth inside the trailer, looked at the fuse box, back and forth. So I thought maybe there was a problem with the service. So I grabbed the 30 amp surge protector, plugged that in with an adapter. Same thing, trailer wouldn't turn on. So last resort, plugged in a bunch of adapters, went to 120, the 120 supply, and still nothing. So by this time I'm frustrated. I'm thinking that there's got to be something wrong with the trailer. I was thinking or the supplies. So sitting there scratching my head, and I walk around the trailer and realize that I didn't plug in the other end of the power cable to the trailer. So needless to say, I felt pretty stupid, but that was really the only issue that we had on the trip, and it was self-caused. But on the advice of one of my viewers, there was a comment about a dog bone. It is a 50 amp to 30 amp adapter. So the dog bone isn't something that I've heard of before, and it's actually pretty cool to know that if you only have a 30 amp surge protector, that you can just pick one of these up for, I want to say it was around 20 bucks, and still be able to plug into a 50 amp service. The one thing that I read on this, on the label here, is that if you're using a 30 amp surge protector on a 50 amp service, that you should make sure that you watch how many amps you're actually using inside your trailer, because this device is going to be only rated for 30 amps. So you don't want to overload your trailer, you don't want to overload your surge protector or this dog bone. So Amazon just showed up and brought me a couple more goodies. These are also things that I found from our last camping trip. So for a freshwater hose, I just bought a Camco vinyl white hose. And the problem with these, you cannot get them to straighten out. It's terrible. And I know anyone who's seen these hoses before knows exactly what I'm talking about. So I got on Amazon when I got home and found this hose. Look at this thing. It's perfect. 25 foot, and I want to say it was around 20 to 25 bucks. But it's drinking water safe, and it has a couple of springs on the end so that it doesn't get crimped. But this is going to work out perfectly. One other thing that I got, we have a Camp Chef that we use for outdoor cooking. Angie uses it for, she has a grill top and uses it for a stove. So we brought an extra propane tank that we just set underneath the Camp Chef, and when I got home I realized that I have a propane port over there that feeds off of the propane tanks in the front of the trailer. So I got a 10-foot propane hose that has its own shutoff, and this particular one came with the adapter where I can unplug the hose from the Camp Chef and plug the new one into it, and then this just a quick connect to that. So I will link these and the other items that I got in the description below, and check them out. If you happen to use our link to go to Amazon to purchase, it doesn't cost you anything more, but it does help out our channel. So if you are thinking about buying any of these things, please follow our links and purchase it from there. Anyway, just wanted to give you an update. We're going to be heading out for another long, extended camping trip here in the next couple of days, and we're very excited about this. We're going to have a lot of exciting things to show you. So thanks for watching, and we will see you soon.